This is Mahesh Pandey with you. Today we will understand the difference between the ISO 27001, 2022 Lead Auditor and Implementer. There are several questions and the queries keep coming up with us, and we thought of coming up with the right mentoring session, and this was going to take and of course give you an advantage before you take an informed decision. All right, thank you. Let's get going. So we are going to cover what is information security, ISMS, difference between 27001 auditor and implementer, the 27001 lead auditor implementer certification outcomes, job opportunities, and how can you get certified on that. Before we proceed, this is about me. I have trained over 10,000 plus professionals, as well as I have trained professionals from 54 plus countries. I'm accredited trainer by APMG as well as TUSwood. So there are various certification bodies that I'm accredited with. Here is some of the list of my certifications earned over last 23 plus years and counting more. I repeat, counting more. So I'm sure this gives you a confidence that you are in the right hand. Organization today is ensuring that information security, cyber security, data privacy. However, when we look at most of the organization, they are more focused on the implementation of firewalls, identity access management, anti-spam, access controls, data leakage prevention. So there are various technology aspects that organization is taking care. However, mature organizations are well versed with the risk arising from various other areas. Now, these other areas can be of your organization and related policies, processes. Now, these policies, processes are of various departments in your organization. However, risk arising out of these areas not necessarily addressed, and there is a right approach. Information security management system address exactly these areas along with the people related. Now, example where joining, during, after termination or exit of an employee. So what all practices that needs to be followed, that's where you will have more focus on information security management system, that is through ISO 27001. So there are physical aspects of it and as well as technology. Technology, there are now, if we consider overall information security management system and related controls, you have 37 controls from an organization point of view. You have 8 from people point of view, 14 from physical point of view, and altogether 34 from a technological control point of view. So this is what these are called as themes, and that's what is covered in ISO 27001 controls point of view. So we will understand how this is going to be helping organization and addressing the information security, cyber security, and data privacy related risk. Today, organizations have become, irrespective of the industry today, you may talk about the mechanical, or you may talk about banking or IT, telecom, or oil and gas. Every industry that we are exposed to internet and selling their products and services across the world, there is a digitalization. When we say digitalization, 3 key risks are by default, and we need to, as an organization, address those risks. The challenges the organization is facing today in this digital world, where you have to retain the brand value. One information security leak can spoil the entire organization's maybe decades of efforts. Similarly, for data privacy, we have GDPR, or in India, like we have Digital Privacy Act. Now, there are various countries that you have the respective acts, which you have to cater to their requirements. You have to fulfill the requirements. Every organization, as we discussed, we are delivering services across the world. So there are legal and regulatory requirements and compliances that you have to maintain. Now, how do I manage all this? Organization has a challenge to be staying in the competitive, of course, the era where we are focused on price and maybe the cost of the services. And other side, you have challenges of information security as well as data privacy and cyber security we have to maintain. So we have to have a balance of not only that we are applying the information security and all these controls in such a way that it is going to be impacting to the organization. That should not happen. So we have to have a right balance, and that's where information security management system is going to be really beneficial. So where ISO 27000 talks about establishing the right set of practices for organization. When I say right set of practices, you have to understand the organization and its context. The leadership, you have to take a buy-in. You have to set up the right set of processes and policies in the organization in all aspects of it. Okay, you are going to implement that. Organization, when I say implement, there will be a role of implementer. Now, the role of implementer is to ensure that the practices with respect to information security management system, like we have a right set of policies for each department. One, there are right roles and responsibilities. You must have heard about RASI, responsible, accountable, consider, inform. So top management should be guiding them or giving them, of course, the right set of roles and responsibilities. There has to be appropriate budget. You are going to be ensuring that people are following that, and that's where we come to operating. Now, in general, it looks like when ISMS, information security management system, organization think that this is an overhead. And that is the biggest mistake the professionals actually do, maybe in terms of consultants as well as auditors. So where we are not here to add a burden to this respective organization. We are here to inculcate or utilize their existing processes and policies, ensure that there is an aspect of information security, cyber security, data privacy is professionals are concerned while they are performing their activity. That is the most important part of operating. So monitoring, where we are ensuring that review of all those information security practices that you have set up in the organization and you are going to improve. So this is what in brief that I have helped you understand what is information security management system and it's all about. One word I would like to emphasize before we proceed, that is management system. When we say management system is not only based on the technology. You also have the processes. Okay, you have policies, you have technology architecture. Okay, you are going to be concerned about the suppliers and the contract, clients, as well as you have, for example, the information security objectives of the organization. So your management system is going to be covering is a combination or interrelated activities of all these things. So as an implementer, we need to be, of course, along with people. As an implementer, we need to be concerned about the organization with respect to all these aspects and not only focusing on the controls with respect to the technology. I hope we are clear on that. Now, as you implement information security management system for organization, it is going to help improving the brand, of course, where the trust of your organization is inevitable or it will be very obvious, visible. The meaning to that here is your organization is 27001 certified with respect to the right set of activities or the processes, policies that you have established. People are following and it is being reviewed on a periodic basis. That's where the advantage. Having only a piece of paper, what we call a certificate, may not help. However, having professionals like you setting up the information security practices, following that and ensuring that it is adhered with respect to international standard requirement, that's where the organization is going to get real benefit. So it is going to help you reducing the risk, early detection of the risk, acting on it, ensuring that clients as well as your respective stakeholders are informed properly. So there is an approach that you will have with respect to information security management. These are some of the advantages, okay, to an organization. Now, when it comes to the organization, consider this organization is implementing ISO 27001 for maybe the organization have 5 locations. They may not select the entire 5 locations, 5 different countries, or maybe different states, or maybe in the same city. Initially, they may go ahead with 2 locations. Okay, that is what we call as physical scope. And when I look at the logical scope of the organization, that can be including department, products, services, as well as you may have IT infrastructure with respect to your on-site or on-premise. Now that what we call as logical. Now, when I say physical and logical, it is really important for you to note and understand that you can select the ISO 27001 certification for organization with respect to only one service, couple of services, couple of departments, with respect to the risk that the organization is with. Now, who's going to decide that what all departments and the product services that they are going to, of course, respect the organization. And hence I said, with respect to one organization going for ISO 27000. Now, the role of implementer is that you will have a core team. Now, it's not a job of one person to get implement or rather the entire implementation of the processes policy with respect to all departments and their products and services. One person cannot do that. You have to have a right set of people with you to when you initiate. You have to have prepare a business case and take a buy-in. There will be an investment with respect to you may have to hire the external consultant for the gap assessment as well as process designing, of course ensuring that the international standard requirements are met. All that you have to have the right set of people for, and as well as the financials. Now, not only financials, but it is setting a tone at top, and that is what is the job of your leadership. Now, you have to set the context of organization where there are internal external issues or internal external stakeholders and the requirement that needs to be addressed with this. We will be performing the gap assessment where now there are international standard requirements. With respect to that international standard requirement, is this organization is ready and what are the gaps? There are the requirements can be maybe there are 25 requirements or maybe some more requirements, and there are, as you go with the course you will understand the requirements are clearly defined in the form of documented information. How to identify that, you will understand that. When I say defining the scope with respect to physical and logical, we will project planning. Each ISMS implementation is a project. If you have a background of project management or you understand how project management works, this is going to be really beneficial, where communication management, your stakeholder management, your risk management, time, cost, quality, as well as your supplier management. So there are various aspects that will come as a part of project planning. Now, who's going to head that? Of course, your lead implementer is going to head this. Risk assessment. Now, there are two aspects of risk assessment here. One is you are going to consider your internal external stakeholders as well as you are going to consider your internal external requirements. When I say stakeholders and their requirements as well as internal external issues that you are going to consider while you are performing the risk assessment. The result of risk assessment, I'll say a result of risk assessment, you will perform as an implementer that there is a risk register. To address the risk in the risk register, you will have to apply certain controls. These controls are defined in 27002. They are listed in 27001, but how to implement a control, the guidance is given on 27002. Based on that, we will prepare a statement of applicability. Not necessary, as we said some time back, there are total 93 controls formed or categorized in organization, people, physical and technological areas. Okay, not necessarily all 93 controls are applicable. We may have to exclude some of the controls. For example, organization is not into a software development, so secure development policy may not require to you. Some of such controls that you may exclude. Communication plan, you will be developing the information security management system altogether, where you will have processes, policies and applicability of all these controls. And as I said, that you may prepare an ISMS manual with, as you are done with that, we are going to implement that, people are going to follow that, you will have train the trainer. When I say when you are going to implement this and people are going to follow, not necessarily they will understand their role in information security. So you as an implementer, you will help them understand that. They train the trainer, conduct the internal audit, select the certification body. Now here the role of implementer is also to select the certification body, because that maybe you have the internal audit committee. I repeat, you may have internal audit committee. You will liaison with them. You will of course, select the certification body, ensuring that your information security objectives have been understood by the certificate and they have a capability to audit your organization in your industry or domain or vertical. So that's really important. There might be a non-conformities arising out of. So you as an implementer will help them closing, and as well as finally, it is your information security management system is not like a one-time job of implementation. You will be ensuring that it is improved continuously, that you are bringing, of course, the alignment with respect to the industry and organization requirements. This is the role of your implementer. When it comes to auditor, this image is so clear for you. Okay, when an organization we have prepared we have implemented, I will say ISMS, that is Information Security Management System, and we have fulfill the requirements. We are ready, but not necessarily we are tested, we are evaluated. So we have to approach certain certification body. Now there can be certification bodies like TUBSUL, okay, BSI, okay, or maybe PECB. There are various certification bodies are there in the industry. These certification bodies are, they should be 27006 certified. Now when you are selecting any of the certification body, you need to be very careful that is this organization 27006 certified. That's the first rule that you can consider. Okay, that now you are an implementer and you have implemented information security management system for the organization. You are fulfilling the international standard requirement and you have applied certain controls as well. Now you are ready. You are approaching the certification body. Certification body will come and audit the implemented information security management system. Now how this activities happen? What is the job of the lead auditor then? Now we are going to be focusing more on the lead auditor, where auditee is going to approach certification body, but not necessarily certification body has a capability. TUV example I'm saying, okay, I'm not here motivating or demotivating, or rather you may say promoting or diluting the respect or their capabilities. This is only for an example purpose. Okay, TU should may not have a capability to audit a respective organization. It is in, for example, fintech organization, and BSI has a strong mode. Similarly, you may have a TUV is really strong in banking and as well as IT services. Now, if you are an IT services organization, you may select TUV. That's how the evaluation that you will have to perform as an organization when you are selecting a certification body. Now, as the certification body is appointed, now I'm going to change your role as a lead auditor. We have discussed so much as of now on mostly from a implementer point of view. Now we will have a look at from a lead auditor point of view. So your auditor role, what is the role of auditor? Auditor is going to understand the organization structure, their scope, their information security objectives, challenges. Why are they inviting you? It's not only, again, I'm making you remember, it's not about the certificate for the organization. Remember, my friend, it's all about the information security objectives that the organization wants to evaluate through you as a lead auditor. You will basically understand the organization, their requirement, their challenges, and then you have already a contract signed. Now you are going to select your team. Now the selection of team again depends, where organization may have a technologies like Salesforce, AWS, Azure, maybe some platform on Cisco. They have some Google cloud platform. They may have some in-house proprietary technologies. Maybe some organization is an airline. Okay, then you may have mainframes and whatnot. So there are various different industries and different technologies based on the different services that you are actually, the organization adopted their technology setup. Do you really have a capability with you? May not be with one person. So you may need the multiple resources. You have to have what we call as technical experts, and maybe auditors with respect to the physical as well as the HR point of view, and some other maybe organization is considering the finance or maybe business operations. You are going to consider these team members. You will have information security objectives to understand and to prepare for the phase 1 audit. Phase 1 audit is all about the document verification. Which documents? All those international standard requirements as well as the controls that the organization have implemented. Plus, additionally, organization might have implemented the additional controls. Now, example of additional control. I'll take an example of data center. Now, there is no word called as data center in your standard. I repeat, there is no, neither in a control, neither in the 27001, the clauses what you have. When it comes to the data center, okay, I repeat, when it comes to the data center, example, these are racks and you have a servers and whatnot, you have a guidelines written here. Now, this guidelines itself is one of the control. That guidelines like maybe entering the data center with the employee. Of course, not to touch the devices where sensitivity is there. You are supposed to be installing the hardware outside the data center and then well tested, and then you are going to take it inside. Any power changes, you have to take an admin or a facility support. These are all guidelines. Now, this is one of the example that I have given. Okay. Now, that is what we call as additional set of requirements. We will prepare as an auditor, we will prepare a checklist. We are going to conduct the audit. The result of the phase 1 audit, if the organization is ready for the phase 2, we will of course give the go ahead to the organization or the phase 1 audit is clear. Now, if the organization is of course clear with the phase 1, we will proceed with the phase 2. Now, in phase 1 and phase 2, phase 1 is all about document verification, whereas phase 2 is talking about, or rather is of course ensuring that auditor is testing the applicability. Now, example, we say that we have a backup process. Backup process is available, what we call as, now when I look at the phase 1 point of view, if I am an auditor, I will look at whether the process is defined, okay, it is approved, it is published, as well as communicated. People are aware of it. And finally, it is reviewed on a periodic basis. Now, these are 6 key activities is a focus from a phase 1 point of view. However, having only document, people are aware of it, not necessarily they are following. Now, for example, that you are taking daily backup, full backup, what we may have a monthly full backup or incremental backup. You have a reason to take the backup. You have different types of these servers or services. You are going to take a backup. You have a frequency decided. You may have, for example, you may have in a month, there are 100 logs and multiply by 12. I am considering a year. So you have 1200 logs and your process says if backup fails, we will have to log an incident. We will be recording that. We will be restoring that and we are going to taking a corrective action. You as an auditor, you are going to verify whether such incident occurred. If occurred, have they followed their own process? This is exactly what we call as applicability. I'm stopping here now. Okay, moving forward. So we will prepare an audit plan. We will prepare audit test cases. Now, test cases is like based on the roles and responsibilities, based on the respective controls are in scope of that role. We will prepare questions. We will, of course, as we are ready with that, we will be coming on site. We will have an opening meeting with the respective stakeholders, and then we will have a respective auditee. We will have a questionnaires. We will conduct the audit. We will gather the evidences. We have the if you find some non-conformities, you are going to draft the non-conformity. Keep in mind, as an auditor, you are not here to find a fault. Remember that you are not here to find a fault. You are here to find facts. Remember that. Okay, that is something you have to wear a hat of facts and not fault. This is somewhere a junior auditor makes a mistake, and we ensure that, of course, we rightly, accurately prepare you on that. Okay, now audit report presentation. Templates for that, for maybe a checklist, the plan template or a test case template, all that rest assured that you will be with us, okay, and we will help you. You really don't need to prepare templates or pay for that. Find it on Google. You will be preparing on your own. Remember that, okay? You are closer of the audit. Now during the closure, you will have a stakeholders again when you had an opening meeting, and you will have that closure meeting where there will be a non-conformities. You are going to be discussing on that. If there are apprehension, you are going to make a record of that, okay? And you are going to conclude that. This conclusion can be your organization is, of course, is cleared the audit, you are recommending to deny, or you may have some non-conformities, you may need site visit, or you may not need site visit. This you will give it to certification body. Remember that, okay? You will be giving it to certification body. And then you will have a certain non-conformities where you need an audit to follow, okay? And finally, surveillance audit. Surveillance audit is that I'll give you a quick brief about that as well. Each certification for, or rather the ISO 27001 certification for organization, okay, is valid for 3 years. First year full audit, second year surveillance audit, third year surveillance audit, and fourth year we will have recertification audit. Remember that, okay? This is not a root cause analysis, remember my friend, okay? This is the recertification audit, remember that, okay? First year full audit, surveillance audit, surveillance audit. I have one slide that I will be talking on that as well, okay? Have a patience. I hope we are clear what is the role of auditor. I'll go back and give you a quick brief. With respect to implementer, your job is to ensure that information security management scope is defined. We are going to implement the ISMS and ensure that we are ready for the audit, and we are selecting a certification body and we are improving. So that is the job of, in short, lead implementer. And as well as with respect to auditor, you are a third party member. You may work with certification body, and as well, and this as the certification body is selected, you will form your team, okay? You will prepare audit plan for a phase 1, and the phase 2 one is clear. You will go for phase 2. You will verify if there are non-conformities. If the organization is have cleared and there are not really major non-conformities, we will give the recommendation to certification body. Organization is through. So this is what is the difference between lead auditor and the implementer that you have understood. Now, when it comes to standard, we will have to refer 4 standard. First one, you have an overview and vocabulary, that is ISO 27000. Okay, 27001 has a clauses. Although there are 10 clauses, however, there are 4 to 10 clauses are essential. Why, how, we will come back to that as you come in the session. Okay, you will have it. Now, these clauses forms a framework. This is based on PDCA. There are 4 clauses. 4, 5, 6, 7 is a part of your plan. Do is what you have operations. Okay, check is performance evaluation, that is 9, and 10 is improvement. This is your the 27,000. Framework is fixed. Your organization is going to be audited based on 27,001. As a result of risk assessment, as I said, as a part of 6 planning part of it, where we are going to perform the planning, and based on that we are going to perform the statement of applicability. Statement of applicability indicates what controls are selected, what controls are implemented, and what controls are excluded. So this is what you have as a part of statement of applicability. That means out of 93 controls, when we have performed the risk assessment, we are supposed to apply certain treatment. The treatment options are given in 27002, what we call as controls. And this in SOA, what you have a list of controls that you have selected for your organization, and that's what is the statement of applicability. Okay. With respect to 27, I said that, okay, 27002, result of risk assessment, you are going to select the controls. These controls are defined. There is a guidelines, and this is not a certifiable standard. Okay, so this is wherever in general, one signify in general, I said, or you can say wherever there are international standard requirements are defined, you have, that is a certifiable standard. You will understand with me what are the certifiable standard, what are the guiding standard, what is the overview vocabulary. You will understand all that. Now, as of now, we said three standard: 27,000 overview vocabulary, 27,001, which is based on PDCA, Plan Do Check Act. Okay, there are 10 clauses. There are various requirements of international standard requirements. Your organization or you're going to be fulfilling that. And as you perform the risk assessment, result of risk assessment, you have to select appropriate. You may select appropriate controls. These controls are defined in 2702. Now that is still the implementer part of it. Okay. However, when it comes to audit, we have to refer one more standard, and that is called as 19011, where you have guidelines for auditing any management system. Now that management system can be 22301 and not only 27001. Okay, 22 for business continuity, ISO 20001 for IT service management, 9001 for the quality management. So there are various standards that you can use this particular standard. You can refer while you are conducting the audit. These are 4 standards we are going to refer. Now, benefits, as these are some of the questions generally comes up from the students and the organization. I'm sure now we have addressed that. I will say that today, if you look at the LinkedIn or the profiles of professionals in information security, not only this lead auditor, however, I will say implementer. Every professional today you will find is every second professional is the ISO 27000, because it is via some organization, I'll say, maybe in India as well as across the world, you are delivering services globally. How will you showcase the trust? How will you build the trust? You have to ensure that people as well as organization, some key members are at least certified on 27. There are 5,000 new organizations annually get certified. Very obvious, there is a requirement of implementer and as well as auditor. I'm sure you can all understand. You can Google and see on various job portals, there are 50,000 plus jobs are regularly available in this area. 20, of course, certification for organization is valid for 3 years. Does mean there is ample opportunity for the auditor as well as the implementer. Now, when I say this is 3 years country, I did say that. However, why it is so important? Now, example, there is a contract of $25 million. Okay, $25 million. I'm taking not really very high. It is reasonable. I have worked with the organizations where 40 million, 50 million, $100 million of our contracts are also there. Now coming back to the point, now this is $25 million and organization says that bare minimum requirement is organization should be maintaining ISO 27001, and that too with reputed certification body like PECB, BSI, TUSO, DNV, and there are many other. Okay, we are not here to promote that. Okay, coming back, it is inevitable for the organization. You can't say that we will take it easy. We have to maintain that. All right. I have seen in my career of last 12 plus years of training out of 23 years that professionals generally get 40 to 100% salary hike in 2 to 3 years. With the job change, 40% is very obvious with this certification. Okay. Now I'm moving ahead. There are some changes have come very recently, hence I felt that this is important for you to understand, and you have kept patience. I must appreciate that as well. Have a look at this now. Previously ISO 27001 and 2. 27001 has very limited changes. 27001 has a clauses. They have not made so many changes to this framework, okay, which is based on PDCA. But significant changes have come in 27002. Hence, I'm focusing on 27002, where the controls, we have a guidelines given. ISO 27002, 13, one has 40. There were 14 sections, 35 control object, 140. This was slightly tricky, confusing. Okay, now they have simplified. What they are saying, there are only 4 control themes, okay, or control sections. These control sections are organization, people, physical and technology. Total, there are 93 controls. There were duplicate controls. They have removed that and they have added altogether 11 new controls. I have one sheet, one PDF that I have prepared, the defining the list of new controls, and I will be happy to share with you all. Okay, and we will have my team members to share all those who have joined, or as well as I will share a link in this comment section moving forward. Audit frequency, as I said, my friend, consider the first year organization have decided they are going for ISO 27001 implementation. So they will have to ensure that ISMS is fully implemented and they will be inviting certification body. So there is a need of auditor. There is a need of implementer. As you go for surveillance audit, it is not that it will go autopilot. People will follow, will carry out activities. Someone has to be there internally to ensure that the ISMS activities are carried out. Same applies to the certification body, but the extensively that a role of implementer auditor will be there at the time of full audit. You may have a here. This is also called as partial audit. Surveillance audit is also called as partial audit. You may have limited areas to be focused. For example, high risk in areas of organization where you have a SAP, and in that there are a couple of modules that you want to test. In ERP, you want to test some of the enterprise resource planning. You want to test some of the modules. You may want to test access control. You want to test some areas where cryptographic controls are in. So various areas that you want to be focusing on that. Okay. Third year also service. So thus certification is valid for 3 years. So there is a regular requirement of implementer and auditor in organization. Organization cannot exclude that. Okay, remember. And fourth year again surveillance audit. Sorry, this recertification audit. Okay, recertification audit. So hence this is a continued requirement that you have in industry. Now question comes up, who should attend? You have systems auditor, network server executives, job seekers, quality managers. I've seen most of these professionals do come and join this and take an advantage. Question comes up, one of the questions, Mahesh, why IT managers is required? My dear friend, operations manager, production support manager, delivery manager, these managers are bound to be there as a part of audits. If they are not aware of the auditing practices, clauses, controls, according to which that they have according to international standard requirement, they have to maintain. If that is not, they are not understanding, it's going to, how are they going to ensure that they are fulfilling the requirements? So for them, it is must to have. Okay. Here are the jobs available for you. You have an internal auditor, ISMS auditor, as well as you can play a role with that you joining with a certification body, or you can play with an internal organization. I'll tell you an example. For example, there is an IT organization. IT organization, 100 large client. Now each client will have their compliance requirement, conformity requirement. Organization is fulfilling the international standard requirement and the requirements with respect to the contractual. Okay, contractually that is defined. Who's going to ensure that these requirements are fulfilled? Exactly that you have this role as an internal auditor. Okay. Now from an implementer we have discussed, and some of the roles like you can be a security consultant, independent security consultant, you can be a GRC consultant, you can become a risk manager, security manager. You have a lot of opportunities available in industry. Okay. How are you going to get certified? Join me with 4 days of session. 5th day you will have examination. You will have the result is going to be shared in 30 days. I will make sure that you are fully prepared. Okay. And you can validate your certification. This is an example of a lead auditor where you can see here all the, of course, topics are covered. And as I said, your certificate is available in 30 days. You can validate in 60 days on the respective link that you have. Same for the lead implementer. Okay, that the lead implementer. There are some topics which we have already discussed, and that they are going to test you on that. In this examination is a combination of MCQs and of course, the 5 marks, 10 marks, and non-conformity draft. Here, all MCQs. There are altogether 46 MCQs. Okay, 1 to, you can say, 40, that you have 1 mark. Okay, and 41 to 46 you have 5 marks each. So this is slightly a scenario based, but you can rest assured you will be well prepared on that. iVision have been delivering these services for last almost like 13 years. Okay, we are here. We have a significant experience of delivering these courses. One of the biggest advantage with us is that you will have a free attempt if you fail. But I have seen 98% people who will clear in first attempt. 2% people who are casual in nature, there is absolutely, for them this is a free, but professionals like you who are coming to the session, understanding, keeping patience, I am sure you will be clear, and the way that you will be prepared, you will be 100% clear. Thank you very much. You can certainly reach out to our team. We regularly organize these training and certification for public as well as for corporate in India as well as international. I have personally traveled 18 countries repetitively, including, of course, the most popular countries in Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, and delivered across the world through live virtual training. Thank you very much. Looking forward to see you in our next